MAGA is a shit show. Like, seriously, I can't. I just like. What is going on with them? Every single week, it's more tomfoolery and just disgusting, ridiculously, just like cartoonish activity. So, Mark Robinson, the North Carolina candidate for governor, has now been exposed for making unbelievably racist, crazy, insane comments on a porn website. In wake of this, he's apparently still maintaining his position in the race. And we're going to read exactly what it is he said, because I don't know what he said. I do not know at all what he said. So we're going to read it together to find out. I'm a black North Carolina GOP nominee for governor made dozens of disturbing comments on a forum. So let's see what's going on with him here. So these seem to be the receipts showing the comments he made over a decade, really over the course of the last 13 years. Let's see what's going on with him. Oh, Mark Robinson, the controversial and socially conservative Republican nominee for governor of North Carolina, made a series of inflammatory comments on a website's message board more than a decade ago, in which he referred to himself as a black and expressed support for reinstating slavery, a CNN K-file investigation found. Now, here's a question I have to ask for the black people on the right wing who feel like reinstating slavery is a good idea. I have to ask Mark Robinson, what are you going to be doing in the event that slavery is reinstated? Like, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be up to? What's your day-to-day like? Is it like, like what's your get ready with me? I don't know if we'd be allowed to use YouTube if slavery is reinstated. I would imagine all of our shit would be confiscated. But let's just say Mark Robinson's a special kind of slave. What's he going to be up to? What's he eating for breakfast? What's the diet looking like? Like, I have questions and I want answers about this, because there's no way you can call for the reinstating of slavery and you don't give like an actual breakdown of what that looks like. Who's your master? I'm assuming it's Trump. Who's your master? What's your work hours like? Is it 9 to 5? Like, what are you eating? Do you get to eat? He's a pretty piece of fat individual. I don't know, like, what does he eat to maintain his size? I have to ask the question. Despite a recent history of anti-transgender rhetoric, Robinson said he enjoyed watching Transgender, a review of archived messages found in which he also referred to himself as a quote-unquote perv. The comments, which Robinson denies making, predate his entry into politics and current stint as North Carolina's lieutenant governor. They were made under a username that CNN was able to identify as Robinson by matching a litany of biographical details and a shared email address between the two. Uh-oh. Many of Robinson's comments were gratuitously sexual and lewd in nature. They were made between 2008 and 2012 on quote-unquote Nude Africa, a website that includes a message board. The comments were made under the username Mini Soldier, a moniker Robinson used frequently online. I don't even know, what does that name mean? Is he saying his Schmiedekiss is tiny? Like, I'm trying to understand the meaning of that. His soldier is small. Is that what he's trying to say? Can he even see his soldier? Given the amount of fat, like, you kind of have to lift it up at an angle to see. I've never been that fat, but I'm trying to empathize and look at things from his perspective. If you're that fat, how do you even get a visual? You know what I'm saying? Without lifting it up. I'm just asking the questions that need to be asked. Robinson listed his full name on his profile for Nude Africa, as well as an email address he used on numerous websites across the internet for decades. CNN is reporting only a small portion of Robinson's comments on the website given their graphic nature. Screenshots show Robinson used Mini Soldier all over the internet. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson used the same alias and email he used on Nude Africa across several social media platforms, though many of these accounts haven't been active in years. So here we have Mark Robinson down here talking about transgender wrestler Mac Beggs wins second Texas State Girls Championship. Mark Robinson at Mini Soldier 5 seconds ago says, so violence against women is now a sport. Mark Robinson on Pinterest, Mini Soldier, has not created any pins. Okay, he's not really using that website. Black Planet, Mini Soldier. Okay, Mini Soldier. I'm not sure what this website's name is. I don't even want to repeat it. Don't know what it even is, so we're not even going to talk about that. YouTube mini soldier. Interesting. Many of Robinson's comments on nude Africa stand in contrast to his public stance on issues such as abortion and transgender rights. Publicly, Robinson has fiercely argued that people should use bathrooms only that correspond to the gender they were assigned at birth. He's also said transgender women should be arrested for using women's bathrooms. If you're a man on Friday night and all of a sudden Saturday you feel like a woman and you want to go into the women's bathroom in the mall, you will be arrested, or whatever we got to do to you, Robinson said at a campaign rally in February of 2024. We're going to protect our women, Robinson said. Yet privately, under the username Mini Soldier, Robinson graphically described his own arousal as an adult from the memory of secretly peeing on women in public gym showers as a 14-year-old. Robinson recounted the story as a memory he said he still fantasized about. This is a recurring theme with Republicans. It's this staunch hatred and disgust for certain things, only to find out they take delight in those things. I don't understand, why can't they just be measured, normal? None of this stuff we're reading right now is normal or measured. But why can't they just be measured and normal, like what they like, not get in the way of other people's personal lives, and go about their business? I'm not understanding why that's not possible. Why is it always the case that, you find out that the very thing they hate, they're actually really cool with? I'm not understanding that. Robinson recounted the story as a memory he said he still fantasized about. How did he even pull this? How do you even do this? He said he peed on women in public gym showers as a How? How did he even pull that off? How is he doing that? Let's keep scrolling. I came to a spot that was a dead end but had two big vent covers over it. It just so happened it overlooked the showers. I sat there for about an hour and watched as several girls came in and what the fuck am I reading right now? CNN is not publishing the graphic details of Robinson's story. I went peeping again the next morning, Robinson wrote, but after that I went back, the ladder was locked. So those two times were the only, he spelled where were wrong, the only times I got to do it. Memories. In other comments on nude Africa, Robinson discussed his affinity for transgender. He says, I like watching on girl effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. And yeah, I'm a perv too, he said. In an interview with CNN on Thursday, Robinson repeatedly denied that he made the comments on nude Africa. This is not us. Those are not our words. And this is not anything that is characteristic of me. Who is us? Is he talking in what's the proper, this isn't the third person, right? That's how do you, is this second person? How do you properly refer? He's not even saying this is not us. Is this the third person? What is he? How is he talking? In what way is he speaking here? I don't know. This is not us. These are not our words. Who is us? Is it you? There's only one you. I guess he's referring to maybe his double chin, his triple titties. I'm not understanding who us is. Maybe he's talking about his mini soldier. Who's us? These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me, Robinson said. Presented with the litany of evidence connecting him with the mini soldier username on Nude Africa, Robinson said, I am not going to get into the minutiae of how somebody manufactured these salacious tabloid lies. CNN first reached out to Robinson Tuesday morning with evidence connecting him to the comments on Nude Africa. It took his campaign 2 days to respond and issue a denial. During his interview with CNN, Robinson repeatedly said that the issues that faced North Carolinians were more important than what he called tabloid trash. And he steered the conversation toward attacking his opponent in the race, Democrat Josh Stein, the state's attorney general. We are not getting out of this race. There are people who are counting on us to win this race. By the way, this guy becoming governor has very serious consequences as it pertains to the election coming up. Governors, attorney generals, etc. These positions are going to be used by MAGA henchmen to refuse to certify the results of the election in the event that Donald Trump loses a state. So his position as governor is incredibly important for MAGA because they need these positions to say, we're not certifying the votes. We're not sending these electoral college votes to the White House. Oh, not to Washington, excuse me. We're not sending these certified electoral college votes. It's very possible that Mark Robinson, if he becomes governor, would try to replace the slates with false electors, like they tried to do last time. So it's very important he does not win, because it's not just, we have a Republican in office, yay. This is all a massive coordinated effort to make sure Trump wins. A history of controversial statements. Campaigning for lieutenant governor in 2020, Robinson advocated for a complete abortion ban without exceptions. He later expressed regret in 2022 for paying for his now wife to have an abortion in the 1980s. It's the same shit every time. They condemn something and then you find out they're cool with it, and they were cool with it in the past or did it in the past, and it's like, I'm not understanding, why can't they just be cool with it? Like, why can't people just have the right to decide what they want to do with their own bodies? And you just ride off about your business, they ride on about their business, and then we all good. Like, why does it have to be? I'm not understanding. Let's read what he said. Now campaigning for governor, he says he supports a so-called heartbeat bill that would ban abortion when a heartbeat is detected, approximately 6 weeks, with exceptions for incest and the health of the mother. Health. But writing as Mini Soldier on Nude Africa in December of 2010, Robinson said he did not care about a celebrity having an abortion. I don't care, I just want to see the Robinson wrote. In another thread, commenters considered whether to believe the story of a woman who said she was raped by her taxi driver while intoxicated. In response, Robinson wrote, and the moral of this story, don't F a white bitch. Response, okay. Robinson, who would become North Carolina's first black governor if elected, also repeatedly maligned civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., attacking him in such intense terms that accused him of being a white supremacist. This is a guy, by the way, who literally at the beginning of this article we read about him calling for the reinstatement of slavery. Martin Luther King and friends were beaten, assaulted, jailed for black people to have equal rights, and Mark Robinson not only wants to undo the work of Martin Luther King, but also the work of Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses S. Grant, Richard Sherman. Is it Sherman? William Sherman. Richard Sherman. This is not the NFL. William Tecumseh Sherman, I believe that's the name. He wants to undo the work of the thousands of Americans who fought to maintain the Union and to free the slaves. He wants to undo all of that while simultaneously accusing Martin Luther King of being a white supremacist. Hold on, stand by while I look up Sherman's name. Okay, I got Sherman's name right. It is William Tecumseh Sherman, just making sure. This guy calls MLK a white supremacist, or accuses him of being a white supremacist, after calling for the reinstatement of slavery. Mark Robinson wants to undo the work of thousands of Americans, and for what? He says, get that effing commie bastard off of the National Mall, Robinson wrote about the dedication of the memorial to King in Washington, D.C. by then President Barack Obama. I'm not in the KKK. They don't let blacks join. If I was in the KKK, I would have called them Martin Lucifer. I'm not in the KKK. They don't let blacks join. That doesn't imply that you don't want to be in the KKK. That implies you want to be, but they're just not accepting black members. If I was in the KKK, I would have called him Martin Lucifer. Why? If it weren't for MLK, this man Mark Robinson would not even be lieutenant governor, much less running for the actual office of governor. The Ku Klux Klan would kill you, or attempt to kill you, or would engage in terroristic acts to intimidate you away from running for office. I don't understand this like pseudo-intellectual narrative in the black community of Martin Luther King wasn't no black. He wasn't pro-black. He ruined the black community. He did this, he did that. It's like who comes up with shit like this? Who? Like, Mark Robinson would never be a Republican candidate if it weren't for Martin Luther King. Because of Martin Luther King, far-right conservatives have to pretend like they like you. They have to tolerate your presence. Why is Mark Robinson acting like somehow or another Martin Luther King isn't integral to his rights as an American? I know, like, we know the answer. We know the answer, but it blows my mind that he feels comfortable saying these kinds of things. CNN's reporting on Robinson's comments comes a few weeks after the Assembly, a North Carolina digital publication, reported that Robinson frequented local video shops in the 90s and 2000s. The story cited 6 people who interacted and saw him frequent the stores in Greensboro, North Carolina. A spokesperson for Robinson called the story a false and complete fiction. Despite earning the full endorsement of former President Donald Trump, of course he did, and the North Carolina Republican Party, Robinson faces an uphill battle in the race for governor against Stein. Robinson's history of controversial remarks, including mocking school shooting survivors, sounds like him, and his past support for a total abortion ban without exceptions for incest, and disparaging the civil rights movement have been a consistent theme in the race. Recent public polling shows Robinson is losing to Stein. Funny. Identifying Mini Soldier as Robinson. On the Nude Africa website, in both comments and his profile, Mini Soldier offered numerous details that align precisely with Robinson's personal history. In his profile, Mini Soldier listed his full name as Mark Robinson and disclosed a private email address Robinson used elsewhere online. In 2012, a user responded to a comment by calling Mini Soldier Mark. Mini Soldier mentioned in 2008 being married for 18 years, which corresponds with Robinson's marriage to Yolanda Hill in 1990. In 2011, Mini Soldier wrote he had been married 21 years. Mini Soldier wrote in a 2011 post that he lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, the same town where Robinson lived at the time and currently lives. Shit. This is bad. This is crazy. Oh my god. This is crazy. Hold on, let's look at this. Blue check and everything. Greensboro, American Patriot, husband, father, and grandfather. Wow. American Patriot, 35th Lieutenant Governor of the great state of North Carolina. Mind you, this man's house would have been blown up by the Ku Klux Klan. His house would have been blown up by the Ku Klux Klan if he tried to pull this running for governor shit. Furthermore, it's like, let's just say slavery was reinstated. Again, who in the fuck are you gonna govern, black man? Who are you governing in the event that slavery is reinstated? Who are you gonna be in charge of? Let's just say slavery was reinstated. Why would white people allow you to govern anything? He seems to think he's one of the good blacks, one of the better blacks, one of the superior blacks who would be allowed to participate in white supremacy. No, you won't. It's the same shit with Myron. It's like, you're never, ever, 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 ever going to have that position in their society. Never. Why are we, why? What compels them to believe this? There is no such thing as one of the good ones. You are simply being used in the meantime until they can figure out what they're going to do once they instate their white supremacist society. It's ridiculous. They got all the receipts on this man as well. Jeez Louise. 6 foot. Body type BBM. Big, beautiful male. Is that what that is? Beautiful is subjective. I don't know if I would classify this, guys. Jeez Louise. Married 21 years. Jesus Christ, look at this shit. This is ugly. In a post in 2012, Mini Soldier said he served in the Army in the 1980s, during the same time period as Robinson. In his sexually graphic comments detailing watching women in the showers in 2011, Mini Soldier wrote that his mother worked at a historically black college and university. Robinson's mother worked as a custodian at North Carolina A&T State University, an HBCU located in Greensboro. Both Mini Soldier and Robinson often posted about the same topics online, including reviews for remote-controlled helicopters, their attraction to specific celebrities, and their favorite Twilight Zone episode. The email address associated with Mini Soldier on Nude Africa was also used by Robinson elsewhere online and on social media. On the commenting platform, a user who joined in April 2011 features Mark Robinson's photo under the username Mini Soldier. Usernames and email addresses from whatever this site is were publicly leaked online in 2017, according to the company. CNN confirmed that Robinson's username Mini Soldier shared the same email address as the one used on Nude Africa. Robinson's discuss page is also linked to the black social networking site Black Planet. The web archive shows a username Mini Soldier described themselves as 40 years old in February 2009, the same age as Robinson at that time. Shit. And living in Greensboro, North Carolina, Robinson's hometown. This is insane. At this point, there's nothing he can do besides just either maintain his position in the race or just drop the fuck out. There's literally there's some other crazy comment, right? I'm looking for another comment. Oh shit, but they really did the research. Uncommon phrases used by Mini Soldier and Robinson. Here are several examples of unique phrases used by both Mini Soldier and by Mark Robinson. I don't give a frog's fat ass where that video came from. Note to the news media, I don't give a frog's fat ass about Bill Cosby, Mike Brown's mama's baby daddy, Ray Rice, or that heifer who talked smack about Obama's kids. I really don't give a frog's fat behind who Serena Williams married. He's cooked. He's totally cooked. I don't give two shakes of my black ass about them Mexicans kicking the shit out of them damn turkeys. We don't give two shakes of our behinds about that yellow-haired swimmer getting robbed. It's over with. There we go. Okay. Now to his crazier comments. We've already read the insanity, but let's get to the really crazy shit. Robinson is Mini Soldier. Slavery is not bad, he said. In forms, Robinson revealed his unvarnished thoughts on issues such as race, gender, and abortion. Writing in a forum discussing black Republicans in October 2020, bro, what is wrong with me? Writing in a forum discussing black Republicans in October of 2010, Robinson stated unprovoked, "I'm a black Nazi." What is wrong with these niggas, bro? Candace Owens, Mark Robinson, Myron Gaines, Sneeko, what is their problem? That same month, Robinson wrote in another post that he supported the return of slavery. Slavery's not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring slavery back. I would certainly buy a few. So he seems to be like referring to slavery in general, not necessarily like chattel slavery, African slavery in America. When people say slavery in the States, they're not talking about diverse slavery, DEI slavery, inclusive slavery, intersectional slavery. They're talking about black slavery. Mark Robinson seems to be under the assumption that he would be able to own slaves, that he wouldn't be a slave. And it's like, bro, stop, please. You would 100% be a slave. They would break into your governor's office, physically remove you, replace you with a white man, and put you on a plantation. And for the sake, and as luck would have it, you're also in North Carolina. So the historical accuracy of it all completely just adds up perfectly. In March of 2012, Robinson wrote that he preferred the former leader of Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler, over the leadership in Washington during the administration of Barack Obama. I'd take Hitler over any of the shit that's in Washington right now. Bro, MAGA, they don't think. They literally do. Like, bro, think for 2 seconds. I feel so cringy and corny constantly complaining about what he's saying. But it's like, bro, if Hitler were in charge, you'd be dead. You would be dead. You would be dead in a pile of black bodies or Jewish bodies. You would be dead. You would be in a camp. You would be dead. I don't understand, like, what does he think is, like, he seems to think that he's somehow or another a part of the team. Robinson's comments on Nude Africa often frequently contain derogatory and racial slurs directed at black, Jewish, and Muslim people. In a series of 7 posts in October of 2011, Robinson disparaged Martin Luther King in such intense terms, calling him a commie bastard, worse than a maggot, a hoe effing phony, and a huckster, that a user in the thread accused him of being in the Ku Klux Klan. Robinson responded by directing a slur at King. In October of 2010, Robinson used the anti-Semitic slur, not sure how to pronounce it, when discussing how he liked the show Good Times, developed by Norman Lear, saying the show itself was a bunch of written liberal bullshit. How does he know these slurs? I'm learning this slur today. How does he know this one? He might be in the Ku Klux. He might be a slave in the Ku Klux Klan. That might be what the situation is. He might be a custodian for the Ku Klux Klan. While discussing the Taliban, he referred to Muslims as little rag-headed bastards and said that if Muslims took over, liberals would be the first ones to be beheaded. I mean, he's not wrong about the latter. Yeah, if Muslims took over, we definitely get wiped out. Robinson also used homophobic slurs, frequently calling other users the F word, the F slur, in a largely positive forum discussion featuring a photo of 2 men kissing after one returned from a military deployment. Robinson wrote the sole negative comment, "That's some old sick F word BS." So even when gay people serve our country, they're still not human enough for Mark Robinson. Okay. It's just like, he seems like a really miserable guy. Like, I don't see any happiness here. He doesn't seem to be excited about, but besides the return of slavery. Yeah, Mark Robinson does not seem like a happy camper. This has to be the worst year of Trump's life. Everyone around him is a total lunatic. Like Laura Loomer, but here's the thing. Mark Robinson has been saying morally questionable things for a long time. This is not new. This is a constant theme with him. I didn't know it went this far, but this is a reoccurring theme with Mark Robinson. My question is, when are Republicans ever going to be able to return to normal? Because the reality is he's not dropping out. And part of the reason why he's not dropping out is because Republicans constantly lower the bar. If there's many things MAGA is bereft of, it's shame, grace, respect, and standards. They have 0 standards. Well, they do have double standards for themselves. They get to engage in the most disrespectful, hateful, disgusting, insane rhetoric, and they get to just chill. They get to continue to run for office. They get to continue to be a part of this of social discourse. Meanwhile, Democrats have to maintain an uber professional image. They can never be caught up in any kind of scandals, any kind of bullshit. They have to be perfect at all times. I say that this is going to be the end of the Republican Party. This is the end. This party cannot survive Trump. He has caused so much insanity to be considered normal by their base that at this point their party can't continue. It's not possible. The average American thinks this shit is insane. The average MAGAite does not. The problem is the average American vastly outnumbers the average MAGAite. However, I don't see the Republican Party surviving this. It is insane the shit that this guy has said, and he's under the impression, again, that somehow he's a special kind of black, or that slavery should be brought back. And who thinks like that? You think people should be property again? I'm concerned about what he would do with someone he owned as property, given what we've read. Then to be sitting there calling Jewish people slurs, as if Jewish people have ever done anything to Mark Robinson. Then to be talking about gay people in the use of slurs, to be referring to them as a slur, when I'm willing to bet gay people have done absolutely nothing to Mark Robinson. This is a recurring theme. This man hates homosexuality, but he's into some crazy stuff on websites. He hates on trans people. He's into some crazy stuff on websites. This guy hates abortion, but he got his wife an abortion in the 90s when he was a grown-ass man. I don't know what's wrong with MAGA. They need God. They need Jesus. They really do. They're bereft of Jesus. They need Jesus. Honest, earnest embracing of Jesus. Not this weak-ass bullshit of using Jesus as an attack dog on other people's personal lives. Using Christianity as a weapon to wield against other people. They actually need to humble themselves and open themselves up to Christ, because that's all that can help them. Literally. They're not going to listen to us. They need to listen to Christ. Love thy neighbor. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. All of these verses just fly right over the heads of MAGA. Completely. They're incapable of empathy, love, kindness, grace, mercy, all of that. Just full on just hate. It's weird. But yeah, that's Mark Robinson. He's probably going to stay in the race. He's probably going to lose. But yeah, this was a crazy read. If I sound tired, it's because I am. I'm sorry. But yeah. My brain needs some time to recover from what I've just read. I'm going to pray for those of you who have read this with me, because that was a crazy read. If you liked the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.